Okay, Fernanda, as you know, you've got 15 minutes to present, and after your presentation, you have a seat. We'll ask you some questions. You can start now.
Good morning, professors. I'm going to present my research study that is called Teacher-Student Emotional Relationships and its Influence on Willingness to Communicate in the EFL context. In this case, my advisor was Professor Negro. And so to begin with this, I want to give you a little bit of context as an introduction. This internship, I had it in Universidad, Santo Tomás, with all of learners from the physiotherapy and nursing program. They had between 18 and 24 years old. And the class that I had with them lasted 1 hour and 30 minutes, and it was one time a week. So from this experience in my practicum, I realized, and it caught my attention, the kind of relationship that the teacher has with the students, because they have only been together for 2 weeks when I first started the practicum, and it felt like the students have met the teacher from like years, and it wasn't like that. And they were very participative in the class, and it was like a very warm class. So that's why I decided to base my study on this. So here it's how I emerged my research problem. I have a quote from Liberante that said, teacher-student relationships have been found to have immeasurable effects on students' learning and their schooling experience. So as I mentioned, it caught my attention that the teacher used this kind of relationship that they had as a tool, as much as, for example, the methodology that he uses or the kind of activities that they do. So that's why I chose this as a problem. So the research purpose of my study then is to understand, describe, and analyze how the learner's emotional relationship with the teacher could influence their students' willingness to communicate in class. The research question is how could adult learners' emotional relationship with the teacher in an EFL class could influence their willingness to communicate. And the research objectives of my study, first, the general objectives, was to understand how these emotional relationship could influence in their students' willingness to communicate. The specific objective was to describe the learner's perception first, the perceptions that they have regarding their relationship with the teacher. The specific objective 2 was to observe the students' willingness to communicate, and the specific objective 3 was to analyze the possible relationship between these two. Well, the research assumption is that it's expected to find out that this emotional relationship that they have with the teacher has a positive influence on their willingness to communicate. Okay, so the theoretical framework of my study, I decided to base it on 4 main constructs that are adult learners, EFL, or English as a foreign language, the relationships, and willingness to communicate. In the case of adult learners, I have a definition from the European Commission that is all kind of learning that undertakes adults. In the case of EFL, it is any type of language teaching that takes place into a country which is not a mother tongue, that is from Gilby. In relationships, I have 2 different definitions, because one is just relationship, and the other one is regarding teacher-student relationship. In relationship, it's a frequent interdependence that takes a considerable period of time, and teacher-student relationship is like the emotion-based experiences that the teacher undergoes from his interaction with the classes. Finally, willingness to communicate. That is the intentions that the students have to participate or to communicate in L2. Now, the methodology that I follow for my study. First of all, my study follows the interpretive paradigm. Is because the data is analyzed, interpretive, and following a subjective point of view. The qualitative approach, because I am analyzing the perceptions of the students, and a phenomenological design, because I am analyzing a different phenomenon that is happening in the experiences of different individuals. Well, the procedure that I follow from my study, first of all, the definition of the problem. After that, I apply the different instruments, and I had to collect the data from all the participants. Then I analyzed the data to have a general view of the final results. After that, I identified main categories and patterns that the data gave me. After that, I got some general conclusions, and finally, I validated my results with the help of a psychologist that helped me to interpret the results. Well, regarding the population and sampling, I have a quote here also that's from Creswell. It says, with randomization, a representative sample from a population provides the ability to generalize a population, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. As I wanted to have a general view of the problem, I chose 14 students by random sampling. The research materials that I used was an interview of 10 semi-structured questions. This interview helped me to gather information regarding the the students' perceptions on their relationship with the teacher, and also an observation checklist that helped me to gather information regarding their willingness to communicate. These materials were, the checklist, I checked all the students that were selected for 2 weeks, and the interview, I took it also in 2 different classes for the students individually. The data analysis techniques that I use is coding and triangulation. The considerations of trustworthiness of my study, regarding the dependability, a fellow researcher that was my classmate that was in practical with me helped me to take the checklist. So when we were observing the same student and then we compared the results of the checklist, so we knew that we were having like the same results. In confirmability, because I had a prolonged stay in the classroom, I observed them for like 8 weeks. So, and also because, as I mentioned, a psychologist helped me to interpret the data and the final results. Regarding transferability, my research can help as a guide for future research, obviously adapting it to different contexts, but I think that it's very general, so it can be useful in another context also. And credibility, because all data was considered, all the participants were treated equally, and also because they didn't have any kind of influence from their research. The analysis of data, again, the type of analysis that I did was coding and triangulation. I decided to cross-check information from the checklist and the interview and triangulation. And these are some of the results that I got. From that, I created 2 main categories that are student-teacher emotional relationship, that also divides into 2 subcategories, that is distant relationship and close relationship. And the other category that I got was students' willingness to communicate in English, and the subcategories are when asked to answer and voluntarily. So, while I was analyzing the data that I got, it happened that not only this was present in the data that I got. So from that, I had an emerging category, because the students said that when I realized that not only the teacher's relationship with them had an influence on their willingness to communicate, but also the teacher's approach. Most of them mentioned this in the interview, and they said that the reason why they liked to participate in class was because it was a student-centered class, because they feel very they felt important, they felt that they had the space to communicate without the teacher judging them or being very picky to ask them to say something. They used to participate voluntarily because they like this type of class. So, before I go to the final results of my study, I want to mention the limitations, and first to validity, because it's very important in this case. First of all, because as it happened to me, a different category emerged. So it meant that not only the thing that I was basing my study on, it was important in this case. So there are many other external factors that can also influence the students' willingness to communicate. So I had to be very careful to not influence the students to ask or to answer about the student relationship only, but also the things that they really felt. So, for example, another thing that can influence that was the student's personality or their motivation with the course, their levels of anxiety, or even if they have more experience with English, that can also affect it. So in that case, it's very important to have it in mind. And also, this is very important to have in consideration because as I was finishing the analysis of my study, I realized that I should have applied a third instrument that helped me to validate the correlation between the two categories that I got. Because I could correlate it, but not completely. So a third instrument could have helped me a lot to have like a more valid result at the end. Okay, so the final findings of my study. Well, here I have the three categories that I got. The first is willingness to communicate in the classroom. From the checklist that I got, and the selection, the triangulation, and the coding, I could say that 93% of the students, who were like 12 students out of 14, fit into the category of communicating in the classroom voluntarily. And only the 7% that were 2 students out of 14 fit into the category when asked to answer. Most of them feel that they participate in the class in a voluntary way. Regarding the student-teacher emotional relationship, 86% of the students fit into the category of having a close relationship with the teacher. They explain that in the interview, and they say that they could ask anything to the teacher without having fear of what she would answer. And only 14% fit into the category of distant relationship, and then they mentioned that they felt that because they were in university and they didn't care to have like a closer link with the teacher. So what happens, how I can correlate the results, it's because all of the students that fit into the voluntary willingness to communicate are the same students that also say that they have a close relationship with the teacher. So I can interpret that the students who have a close relationship with the teacher can also have willingness to communicate in a voluntary way. And the students that had a distant relationship with the students were also the same ones that said that they only participate in the classroom when they were asked to, and not in a voluntary way. And finally, the emerging category that I got, that was teacher's approach. That was like all of the students had the same answer, except from 2 that didn't mention that at all. That's why I didn't put them here. And these students all mentioned, as I said before, that they consider that the student-centered class and that the approach that they have with the teacher was something that gives them them wanting to participate in the class. So, well, the research question, as I mentioned, that was how could this learner-teacher relationship could influence our willingness to communicate. We can say that it can influence it in a positive way. In the case of the objectives, that was to understand how this relationship could influence our willingness to communicate. Well, we can say that it influences in a positive way because they feel more comfortable speaking in a friendly environment that projects respect and care. Well, the contributions of my study, it can benefit Chilean teachers and also students to realize about the importance that the student-teacher relationship have in the classroom. Because sometimes we only based on methodology or the type of class that we want to do, but we forget that having a building rapport between students and the teacher is very important. And it can also contribute in the research area for those who are searching to find relationship between the concepts that I have also in my set and their effects on language learning. The future directions for research in this area, well, as I mentioned, there are many other external factors that can also influence the students' willingness to communicate. So it will be very interesting to make this research grow and also analyze other factors that can influence the willingness to communicate. As I mentioned, student personality, motivation, levels of anxiety, teachers' approach, that was an emerging category that I would like to have more information about that, but as it emerged at the end of the study, I couldn't make more of what I got. Well, that was regarding my research. Now, the metacognitive analysis. Regarding the teacher's researcher's role, well, first, the teacher for the adult learners, I realized that it's more a collaborator than a superior. They don't see you like, I believe that it was because I have the same age of them, but they see you feel like a helper. They like to be equals. They like to interact as equals and not as if you are like some superior person. And in the case of the researcher, it was much easier for me to carry out my study because they were very participative. They gave more clear answers than kids, so it was easier to carry out my study. Well, regarding my strengths, weaknesses, and challenges, one of my strengths is that I try to always be prepared for if things go wrong. I try to have a plan B, plan C, to have different worksheets in case they finish early or things like that. And regarding my weakness, this time was very difficult for me because it has always been difficult to develop social skills. Because as this time I mentioned, they have the same age than me, so with kids it's easier because they don't ask about your personal life much and you don't have to really have a big conversation with them. But in case of adult learners, it's different because they want to be your friend. And it's difficult for me to establish these social skills. So as a challenge, I definitely have to develop better social skills because I'm doing a research about teacher-student relationship and I can't really do that. So I have to develop better social skills, and also I want to learn like a better, like an appropriate way to adapt materials, because in this case I didn't like the book that they were using and I created a lot of different material. I had to spend lots of time creating things for them to work because I didn't want them to work in the book. So I think it should be better that I adapt the material that is in the book in order for them to work. Like you can always take something positive out of something negative. So that's what I want to learn. Well, these are the references that I use for my study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.